أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني ويفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Sorry I'm late. It was the airplane's fault, I promise. I'm going to kickstart this, and we are going to get right into the competition. My mama drank the Rocky Mountain water while I was in her womb. My fetus birthmarked in U.S. landmarks, my spine jagged like the western slope. My America taught me what it means to carve grand canyons out of rivers. Taught me that even shallow waters can shape a country. That here, you get to spangle your scarves with stars, write constitutions in Arabic, translate the Bill of Rights into every single language. America taught me that even shallow waters can shape a country. So one day when the river got infected with some bigotry and blood, she was swept up in this flash flood confusion. The stripes on her flag slipped off into a blindfold. Someone put bullet holes where her star should be. She would stop me in the streets and frisk me like I wasn't American, like she had dementia, like she forgot she created me. Symptoms of dementia include disorientation. She thought she was painting the American flag in the blue, bruised blood red of the 3 Muslim corpses on the concrete, and she never called it a hate crime. Symptoms of dementia include forgetfulness in the evening hours. A white hood is the same color as my black brother's skin when the sun goes down. Maybe that's why the KKK sets fires at night. Symptoms of dementia include inability to speak or understand. America stopped speaking with me. She said her anchor man could do it for me. How could she understand me? Symptoms of dementia include making things up. She said I was a terrorist, an extremist. A raghead said I am not American. Like Denver General Hospital doesn't have my birth certificate, like my spine isn't an aspen tree, like I'm not made of the same roots as all my neighbors. My mama always taught me to pick things up when they fell apart. And as the branches of this family tree are collapsing, I am doing my best to hold it back together. Because if you pull one aspen tree from the ground, the whole forest will feel their roots sever. America got dementia. She doesn't remember the Rocky Mountain water my mama drank, but she said so herself. Even shallow waters can shape a country. I am almost certain that's why she put these Colorado rivers in my blood. Thank you. I am so excited for this event. This is the first Muslim Poetry Slam that I have ever been to. And to be able to hear the voices and the variety of the Muslim youth in this country, right now, there is a lot for every single individual in this room to learn from. What the youth are feeling, what is inspiring them, what is bothering them. Because we ourselves, it's getting crazy out there, right? So let's bring this home. I am going to introduce our very first poet. And I expect every single person, inshallah, to be loud and let the judges know exactly what you think. And judges, you don't listen to what they have to say, okay? But you guys make sure you let them know exactly what you think, loud, and be supportive, because this is a revolutionary thing happening. I would like to introduce a 7th grader at Grizel Middle School, a graduate of Noor Kids Club and My Noor programs. She is an aspiring writer who recently qualified for a state competition with Power of the Pen, mashallah, which is a writing program for the middle and high school. This is her first time presenting writing out loud. She recently met Amal Kaseer and found her inspiration. Please give it up for Maryam Abbaza.
Assalamualaikum. Okay. One goal in her life. Oh. One goal in her life, to fit in, be liked. She wants to belong, she wants to be cool, but it's not who you are, it's what you have. That's the rule. She spends and she spends, but they're still not content. Latest iPhone, fancy new shoes, branded clothes, anything to schmooze. Just one more, then it'll be done. But this is a war that will never be won. What's your streak? How many followers this week? That selfie's not right. Fix your pose, suck in your gut, contour your nose. No, you don't have a clue. Flip through your filters, find a more acceptable you. She tries so hard to be like everyone else, and slowly she starts to lose herself. Stuck in this rat race aiming to please, every moment just short of getting the cheese. But Allah says, stop being a rat. Just love me and I'll love you, simple as that. These things will all perish, nothing lasts long, but in Jannah you'll find happiness, if now you'll be strong. So she prays every day, who cares what they say? She only praises the one, a new chapter's begun.
MashaAllah. Give it up one more time for Maryam. That is some real talk there, young lady. How old are you? 12 years old, mashallah. I was 13 when I wrote my first piece. You got a head start. That was called Chasing the Cheese. Judges, how are we doing this? Are you guys gonna tell us right now, or are we gonna wait till? How does this work? Hadia's on deck, so get ready, okay? We're gonna get away. Now you're awake. You don't need coffee. Here, let's use this one.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, clearly I'm a professional with mics, thus I should have your attention when I have the mic. Maryam, you did amazing. That didn't seem like your first performance, so we're all very proud of you. And I think that what you spoke about was very relevant to a lot of people, so I applaud you on that. Amal, do you want to go?
Assalamu alaikum. I think we've biased the competition now that your earbuds have all been destroyed. But the first thing that I want to say is it takes an incredible amount of courage to get up and say something like that before everybody around you. That's not an easy thing to do, so can we give her a round of applause, please? The second thing, in addition to courage, it takes a lot of courage to challenge our culture, to challenge our society. And you spoke about some deep issues here. You spoke about consumerism, the idea of always chasing the next thing. And that question, I think, that was very, the theme of your poetry was why? Why are we chasing this? What is a greater meaning behind it? I thought that was very powerful. And I think that's a very relevant message to this time, right? And lastly, I think you touched upon something as well, identity, right? That identity of who we are and what it is that we chase is such a huge part of us that we have to essentially share it with others. I think this is the last comment, so I can keep going all day, essentially. I think that was awesome, and I look forward to much more from you, Maryam, in the years to come, inshallah.
You memorize that piece, okay? You repeat it and you memorize it, and inshallah it'll be on the tip of your tongue whenever you might need to speak it. All right. Our next poet is a 15-year-old freshman at Hillard Davidson High School. She's an aspiring writer and hopes to one day be able to use the strength of the pen to deliver the message of peace to the rest of the world. This next poem is called It's for the People by Hadia.
The mercy to mankind once said, smiling is sadaqah. So why is it so hard for you to say, Assalamu alaikum, and send a smile my way? A smile that may brighten one's day. A smile that might pay your dues to society. The society that has shaped you into who you are today. Today, you who have learned your lessons from us. We who have taught the people so much. So much that we hear none of your faults. Faults that are overlooked or examined to a T, examined so thoroughly the evidence disappears. Disappears like the people, like you and your tears. The tears in the ears that have peered, listening to every word that ever left your tongue. Your tongue that spoke the same words that hurt, that made, that broke the smile on that person's face. You say it's for the people, but how can we be sure? For us, but how do we know? Know and be sure of your tongue, of your heart which we cannot see. We cannot see, not know what lies beneath the flesh and the blood. The blood of a brother, a sister, a friend that was once always there and part of the people that shall disappear. Disappear into the earth, leaving just you and your tears. Your tears that bring joy and sadness along with fear. With fear they encompass the people that have stayed and that have strayed from home, from the path, and from you. But you say it's for the people. You once sang the truth, and now you spew lies that have reached every corner of the universe that shall swallow us all whole, the whole world and the people who are given all they ever asked. Ask and they deliver the words and the joy to the faces that change from time to time, from people to people. The people that had just one flip side, the people that never ended together. But now, together they lie, waiting for the time in which they will find the solution to their many problems. Problems they will see are all because of you and the people and their happiness that will end in your demise that will make you think of whether it's not the people at fault, but rather you and all you ever wanted to do for them. For them you sat and cried every night. Every night you asked for a better day, a day where you could make everyone happy as you wanted to be and to no longer have to say, this smile, it's not just for the people, it's for me.
Allahu Akbar. You brought that smile thing back, mashallah. There is a story. My brother was in Denver, Colorado, and we have a lot of homelessness there. And it was when daylight savings ended or started, whichever one makes it dark earlier. So it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right, and the sun is down. And there was a man, probably like 20, 22 years old, who laid down a box on the floor, and he was ready to go to bed, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the middle of the day, right? And my brother, he was walking by him, and he looked at him, and he just smiled. He didn't have any change in his pocket. Everyone's carrying that plastic card these days, right? And the guy started crying. And Yasser's like, what did I do? I don't, he said, like, what's wrong, brother? And this young man, he told my brother Yasser, he said, no one has even looked at me in days, and you have just smiled at me. Subhanallah, it is sadaqah. It truly, truly is. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, magnificently wise. And I thank you, Hadia, for that beautiful poem. Judges, have you guys got anything to say?
Assalamu alaikum. Hadia, is this your first time performing? It was, mashallah, that was amazing. Your voice, the way that you said the poem, the way you represented the words, and it was just really strong and powerful, and I loved that about that. I loved everything about that. Jazakallah khair.
All right, and Hadia, how old did you say you were? Yeah, it was like a very deep poem. And I appreciate your creativity, and you had a lot of confidence and volume, so lovely job, especially for being your first. Thank you.
Jazakumullahu khair. That's 2 poets. So far, so good, I would say. This is a great poetry slam. It's different than when you go to like regular like non-Muslim high schools, and the content is different for sure. And I'm very proud of you guys. Our next poet grew up going to the masjid. He's now a 3rd-year Ohio State student, mashallah, majoring in economics and planning on pursuing law. He also does music on the side as a hobby. I would like to introduce the next poem, Home is Where Allah Is, by Adam Khatabe. Correct?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just wrote this yesterday, so bear with me. I'm going to have my phone in my hand. I remember when I used to sit where you did, just a young middle school and high school kid. I would never try to kick it with the cool kids, because in the masjid we were acting like the cool kids. That was back when we were always acting foolish. We were loud and the Amals used to lose it. But the funny part that I just never knew then was this the very place that my soul grew in. You see, I never noticed till I really left here. It's like I'm homesick, but I never slept here. I had laughs, I had tears that were wept here when I noticed I could die in the next year. Now I'm thinking how to push it to the next gear, this religion that Allah chose to bless here. Honestly, it makes me nervous when I think about it, but anxiety to me is just the best fear. My mama told me don't you ever lose faith. My mama told me life is just a test. Mama told me do it all for God's sake. No matter the result, He still knows you did your best. And my Baba taught me how to be a man too. Well, people tell you what you can't is what you can do. That means you make lemonade with the lemons life hands you, because when it's all over, that's when they will understand you. So keep representing your religion, because it's jihad. You know I wear my beard like a male hijab. And everything every poet said has been facts. I hope it hits you where you feel it, that Muslim youth impact.
Takbir. Allahu Akbar. That's some nice flow, brother, mashallah. You perform, yeah? You do that? Awesome. I like that. You know, when you can use the word ammo in a poem, you know, that's a skill. It really is. MashaAllah. Judges, I think let's hand it off to you. Who wants to go first?
Bismillah. So Adam, that was awesome. No, mashallah, you brought spirit. You always do, I think, with your poetry. And just as a comment, Sister Amina saying that, you know, you're not officially competing because you chose not to. But I want to say something. The spirit that you bring has power. And with power, I'm going to quote Spider-Man here, with power comes great responsibility. You have a responsibility to challenge us with words, to challenge yourself with words, and to challenge the people around you with words. And I know in the past couple years, your platform has grown and your following has grown, and mashallah, you contribute very much to this Muslim community. And you're paving the way for a lot of people behind you. So that's something you could be very proud of. Jazakallah khairan.
All right. I appreciate you, Adam, for letting young people have their space and not competing. And when I was coming up in high school in Texas, where I'm from, in rural Texas, I came through poetry through beatboxing. Like my brother's friends would beatbox, and I would start flowing, and then I competed. And that's how I came to kind of like poet. Now that I'm in my 30s, like we can't, you know, I gotta be like refined and I can't be out here doing the MC life. But I appreciate your words, and it reminded me of, there's a good flow and the energy, and it brought me back to my youth. So thank you.
I just want to say I got goosebumps listening to that, and it was really beautiful.
MashaAllah. Give it up one more time for Brother Adam. I think something that is often mentioned in the art community right now. You got a lot of up-and-coming hijabis, a lot of them are makeup artists, a lot of them, some of them are singing, some of them are doing poetry. But a lot of communities I've been in, they don't have male artists, male poets in the Muslim community, and I think it's a very, very integral role to be able to master the language. Sayyidina Suhaib or Sayyidina Shuaib? Which one is it? Shuaib, radiallahu anhu, he was the khatib. He gave speeches, right? And it's in us to be able to speak. And writing is in our nature. Dolphins, as smart as they can't write like we can. MashaAllah. Let's move on. Our next poet's poem is called The Truth. And this young man is a Metro Early College high school student. He likes late night boba runs, Uno, and Monopoly, but only with his friends and family. His favorite show is My Hero Academia. Let's give it up for Ismail Dada.
Yeah? How do you do that? So before I begin, I just want to say thanks to my parents, my dad, because there's no way I would have written this poem without his 45-minute lectures after the hood every Sunday, or when I do something wrong. And then my mom, because, well, do I even have to explain that? And then I just want to say that there's no way I would be here right now without them. I want you all to listen with your ears, to smell with your nose, to see with your eyes, to taste with your tongue, and to feel with your heart. Are you ready? Do you hear it? The cries of the children, the wails of the mothers, the weeps of the fathers? Do you smell it? The little drops of salt water trickling down the boy's cheeks as he sleeps between his father's and mother's graves? Do you feel it? The cold blood slowly running down the cracks in the streets, so much so that it could form a river on its own. Do you see it? The stilled bodies of our Muslim brothers and sisters, the African Americans wrongfully convicted of a crime, the immigrants being deported and restrained, the rapes and killings we stand witnesses to? Do you taste it, the so-called victory you stand so proud of? The sad truth being you're only partly to blame. The truth is we block out these disturbing noises. The truth is we look away from these unholy sights. The truth is we let go of these unsettling feelings. The truth is we exhale these disgusting stenches. The truth is we spit out what we can't swallow. Why? We tell ourselves surely they're in God's hands, but we fail to realize that the true test is on us. Whether we are at a standstill, whether we turn away from those in need of our help, or whether we are there with open arms, ready to give our lives to save them, even if we barely know them. The truth is we are not the transgressors. The truth is we are not the oppressors. We are something far worse. We are the bystanders, the witnesses, the middlemen. And in doing so, we again fail to realize that the true test is on us. Will we turn away?
Wow. Ismail, Jazakallah khair. Subhanallah. I mean, Rasulullah ﷺ said, he said, when one part of the body hurts, the whole body hurts, right? But when you don't feel the pain of the suffering of those around you, what that means is you have separated yourself from that body. And I think that's sort of what you were taught, that apathy, that bystander diagnosis, you know, and that was some real talk. It was very heavy. Jazakallah khair. Judges, we'd like to hear a few of your words.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to say poetry is supposed to make you feel something, and that made me want to rethink my life choices. So, thank you.
All right, Ismail, first of all, awesome job. Because I know we say this for a lot of, like almost each and every one of you guys when you come up, but it really is brave and important what you guys are doing when you come up here and you say what's on your mind and what you're feeling, especially the amount of thought and preparation that goes into it before you come up here. And I think a lot of times we like to talk about things that aren't that controversial because you do want to feel something, but you don't want to you don't want to depress the crowd or something, but it's important that we bring those issues to light, and I'm glad you did that today.
They said 30 seconds, Omar. Those who know me know I always have something to say, I guess. But I'm going to keep it brief. Injustice thrives in the dark and the silence, and you broke the silence, Ismail. Thank you.
MashaAllah. Take note of the uniqueness of each and every voice and the depth of every single message. This is amazing. The next poet scratched out the most important part of their bio. This individual is a sophomore at Hillard Davidson, and he plays games with friends, but he crossed that part out. I don't know why. That's a very integral part. This next poem is called Life Isn't Fair by Faizan Saeed.
Lights can't, wait, can I start? Yeah. Lights, camera, action, no movie clip. They know I'm a boss like Al Capone. 3 eyes, I can see who you truly is. Money talks, so you gotta redial the phone. They can't reach my mobile phone. If they touch the cheese, it's provolone. Everybody leaving that scene with a broken bone. If they don't play with the money, I'll stack my bread till I make it big. I feel like life is so limitless. When a broke boy talk, it's gibberish. If they play with... If they play with me, I gotta drop them, leave these boys with a pass. John Stockton, they bitter like licorice, trying to keep a kid stuck in a cage like Nicholas. That's why you gotta find a cash out, gotta make it out, got the whole place mapped out. Back to the booth, never back down. Cooking up heat and I treat it like a trap house. Gotta grind every day right now. I'll secure the bag in 3 days. All my guys in the race right now, running past relay. Ain't nobody in my lane right now, feeling like I'm speeding across the freeway. I'll see you later, I'm thinking paper, boy, get your weight up. People wanna hate, but they got no cash. I put their body underwater like the Krusty Krab. I'm good, they must be mad. I be treating every beat like a punching bag. When I front, I pull up at the back door. Blow like a flute when I pull up with the mask off. I be sicker than a kid with a bad cough. Got money, got bread with the max sauce. Back off, bro. Keep talking smack and they'll pull up at your doormat. I'll be running my town just like a chase down, feeling like Chris, everybody wanna hate now. If they tripping, I'll park the bus, no Greyhound. I'm married to the money, bro. Bread, no suitcase. Fake people get tied up, no shoelace. They had a handgun, I need a new face. Start ducking like a duck in a goose chase. I'm the last of a dying breed. I'm so hot, my job had to fire me. We hotter than pots and pans, it's so easy. These kids caught I was Kanye, so easy. 2 worlds, we the best of both. 2 worlds, we the best of both. These wannabes looking like identical. In the lab with the test tubes and the chemicals, Miss Smalls threw me out, I was a criminal. Man down, I don't fit in, gotta stand out. I put in work, no handout. I turn up, but I stay low key. They got a Glock on their side, but they ain't police. They be walking with the ball like a travel. Every op getting dropped like a tackle. All these hitters, they snakes with no rattle. Got vision like Stevie Wonder. Triple-double on Russell and it rained the thunder. They all want to ride like Six Flags, but I stay balling like Chris Stapps. They want to talk with their breath stink. They need tic-tac. I be counting bands, I be counting racks. My raps stay tight. They got my name and they mount like Crest White. Kia fresh like Colgate. Got money in more ways. Day ones from the old days. In the O where I pose. Putting money for my state though. Arizona with the mango. Pineapple with the Fago. Me and my boys, we trying to double up. McDonald's boy, we get the water cup. Get Sprite, watch it bubble up. Never broke, get my hunters up. Circle small like a peephole. Everybody know the whole team. More life, more everything. Saving money like Geico. Run the game like an ISO. Pulling up like Steve Urkel. No squares up in my team circle. When the fakes call, I just ignore. Keep it 100 like a running fever. Like pizza, it's pepperoni. Few real and the rest is phony. Cut a few off and the rest is homies. When I talk, it's a testimony. When I ship back to back, yeah, I'm 2-0. Yeah, I got no shame because I came from the gutter, bro. But now I'm up and I stay humble, though. I'm the new wave, they say at the seashore. But I blow up like a strap like a C4. All my homies, we came up in the back block. All we ever played was 2K and Slapbox.
There are words in there that I've never heard used in poetry. Very impressive, mashallah. Judges, who do we start with?
So thank you, Faizan. Real quick, I think it was difficult to hear a lot of that. I think a lot of us can agree with that. So you have to work on those presentation skills. But from what I gathered, you do have skill with rhyme. Right, that is your talent, and I think that's there. But one thing I will say to you, I think you were afraid to say what you wanted to say. It's almost like you said it, but you didn't own it. And what I need to see from you is that you own your words. Jazakallah khair.
All right. Faizan, how are you going to be up here spitting fire and going too fast that people can't understand? So you had a lot of rich lines and deep stuff, and obviously there was humor in it, and it was like about you and being a big guy on the street or whatever. I don't know if that was your intent, but like that's what the message I got. And so I would say the same thing. Like you have all this like spitting all this fire, but you really rushed it. And I know you're trying to go for that flow and kind of like be that Kanye or whatever. But even Kanye goes slow. He goes slow. When he does poetry, he goes slow. So I think it's important because you had rich stuff. So and I was trying like really hard I got like maybe 50% of it, and I wish I got more because I know it was really rich. So just like be with yourself and then look at your idols or whoever they are in the industry and see how they do with poetry, because you could easily slow it down and really believe in yourself. And then the humor would be like more provoking and stuff. So yeah, good job.
Give it up one more time for our brother. All right. Let's move on. Our next poet is a junior. Am I pronounced Hilliard? At Hilliard Davidson High School, who loves all things literary and tries to make sense of this crazy world by spilling her thoughts onto paper. She will be performing an original poem titled Not a Word. Please give it up for Samia Amjad.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. So as she said, I'm performing Not a Word. Not a word. Not a single word is spoken between us. But somehow, they know that I'm a terrorist. Not a word is spoken between us. But somehow, they know that jihad must equal violence. Not a word is spoken between us. But I'm told that somehow, I don't belong in this country. Not a word is spoken between us, but somehow they can tell me that the complexion of my skin is too complex to fit in here. But does their skin resemble the sweet brown sugar that they use in the chai that they drink from our culture like mine? Do they know what it's like to wear a headscarf in America like me? Do they know what it's like to hear that the president that they elected wants a ban on Muslims? Muslims like me. I'm not one to complain often about these things, but my heart can't help but wonder, have they ever even considered sitting down and listening, opening their hearts, their ears, their eyes to someone who looks like, acts like, is like me? Are they pushed down every single day? Are they marginalized, stared at, whispered behind because of what they choose to believe in? Or because of a piece of cloth wrapped around their head? Or even simply because of how they look? They say, America accepts everyone. And I used to believe that that was true. But I've realized that when it comes to us, people seem to think that it's okay to pick and choose between what's okay and what isn't from our culture, our religion, our everything. Not one word is spoken between us, not one word. But somehow I am condemned in their eyes. They rely on heavily biased news sources. They rely on rumors they heard. They rely on that Twitter post that they saw. They rely on anyone who isn't Muslim. Thank you.
One more time for our sister. Do they have slam poetry competitions at your high school? Bring it. Bring it to your high school. You're starting a what? A reading and writing club. Look, when I started doing poetry, one, I didn't know it was poetry. It was just like me ranting on a piece of paper. And I was like, oh, hey, spoken word. That's what that whole thing is, right? But walking into a high school where, I mean, by the name of it, I can imagine you are not the majority. Are the brown folk the majority at your high schools? And I think that the ownership of the stage, you know, here's the thing about the United States and really the whole world right now, right? What is, besides Chinese restaurants, what's the one thing that's open up on Christmas Day? Movie theaters, right? What is one thing everyone has in their home? A television. Netflix is rampant. Everyone's seeing movies and watching TV. As a society, we sit down and we watch things. So when you stand up on a stage, no matter how bigoted the audience may or may not be, the reality is people fear public speaking more than they fear death in this country. And so to be able, it is a statistically shown thing that in the United States, people are more afraid of talking on the microphone than they are dying. So when you get up onto a microphone and you speak things like what you just said, you have the capacity to take people's breath away, especially in a society that watches things. Sorry, I'm taking over your time, judges, but I'm very proud. Give it one more time. Who wants to start? Well, okay.
Samia, that was awesome, right? I did want to speak to, I mean, obviously general awesomeness. And so when you do spoken word, there's obviously two elements to it. One is your content and one is your delivery. And I think you did really good in both. And I especially liked your delivery because it seemed very well versed and thought out. And so a lot of times it's not just up there and saying it clearly, but the emotion behind, like the spacing you take, the breaks, the change in your volume, those things also speak a lot to what you were saying and give that more meaning. So I applaud you for that.
All right. How long have you been writing poetry, Samia? 2 years. Okay, cool. And I would encourage you, there are so many poems out there about being Muslim and wearing hijab. And that story is important, but often it's also very cliche. So how can you tell your story in this space that deserves it and I don't mean in this space, I mean in spaces in general where you perform, because you're definitely extremely talented and you have a command of the stage. So how can you tell your Muslim narrative, your this is how I'm stereotyped narrative, this is the hijab on my head narrative, in a very unique way that's you and very different than every other person who identifies as Muslim, female, and a descendant of immigrants. So I would encourage you as you like grow in your journey as a poet, because you definitely should grow and progress and push yourself to start telling stories in different ways and tell your story. Your very specific story, because it's stories that touch people's hearts more than the message. So yeah.
You know, in spoken word, they say you can't be a poet, you can only be the poem. I think you did that today. You paused at all the right spots, you built that tension, and then you broke it at the same time, at the right times, and so you kept us on the edge of your seat. I think it was very raw, it was very powerful, and you brought your best self to us, so thank you for that.
I like that brown sugar chai. That's kind of what I'm craving right now. Use details like that. You know, I think what this sister was talking about, like the details of your life, that's your imagery. You know, what do your mama's hands feel like? Where did you get your eyes from? You know, and I think, yeah, keep writing. Even if you don't change this poem, keep writing and practice. It's not easy to write about this stuff without sounding cliche, right? Because this is a cliche struggle. It really is. And this poem's been written by 1,000 different people from 1,000 different religions and backgrounds. And mashallah, give it up one more time for our poet. I hear that boom, boom, pop, but boy, you know we don't stop. I got the peace on rhythm, and we started from the top. But when they dropped us kind of low, I started speaking kind of slow, so that the tyrant heard my anthem, so he knows the wounds we know. I don't teach him with no bullets, son. I read him what he wrote. A constitution, revolution, member founders came on boats, refugee camp moats. Our hearts are like our pockets, man, we're feeling also broke. It's fun, rhyme, right? The white girl can rhyme. It's funny, my mom is from Iowa. So I would like to introduce our next poet, who will be performing a piece called Perfection. She is a student at Metro Early College High School, 17 years old, and aspires to be a pediatric oncologist when she grows older, inshallah. Let's give it up for Lina Salhi.
Broken families, starving children, bloodied pasts, beauty wrapped in an unfamiliar cast, lives thrown around like they mean nothing. Maybe instead of fearing, we should start trusting. Who is to say I'm not beautiful? You say I cannot be with what I wear, but sir, it's quite doable. My body may not be on display, but sir, do not let that lead you astray. To you, I'm untrustable. I do not fit the social norm, but let me tell you, beauty comes in all kinds of forms. I am the stars on a clear night. I am the smiles at the end of a blight. I am the rain at the end of a drought. I am beautiful without a doubt. You, sir, do not understand. This life was not made for fun. It is meant to be something more grand. I am a picture frame, my soul in passion, as bright as a flame, crystal glass, clean-cut edges, children, adults, it's all the same. Wanting nothing but fame. Money means nothing if you have to throw your morals away. The more you try to fit into society, the more your soul will decay. Be you. Who cares how much you weigh? Don't let them mold you like clay. Perfection. It is something we both do not fully understand. It is the unseen. Beauty behind a mask. You would never know it was there if you never ask. I am in you. I'm your stress. Something you would call a mess, but instead, I am beautiful. Something immutable. In you, I make you strong. More beautiful than any makeup, dress, or song. I am your heart, beating like drums. They could never bring us apart. I am your mind, calculating like a machine, more beautiful than any flower you could find. I am your body, small, big, short, tall. I will never let you fall. I am your soul, constructed with perfection, beautiful as a whole, something that could never be stolen.
One more time. I think that's a topic that we all have something to say about, right? That's for sure. My dear judges, can you please give your 2 cents?
Nina, I know you've been doing the Poetry Slam for a couple years. Like you did it last year and the year before, right? That was amazing. It was really raw and it was beautiful. And I love the way that you spoke with so much power, and the way that you looked at everyone, and you were like, it's like you had a lot to say, and you really showed that in the way that you said it.
So when people find out you're judging, they ask you about whether having their phone or paper is going to take away from their points and stuff. And that's not what it's about. But I think that when you don't have it, a lot of times your presence and the hand gestures and the actual performance of the piece comes through a lot more strongly. And so you seemed a lot more connected and a lot more in touch with what you were doing, that it was more personal. And I think that you were able to connect that to the crowd very easily because you were, able to like look at them and do all that. I'm not necessarily as well versed at compliments, but you did amazing.
The judges are getting annoyed at me. No, but mashallah, you challenge the notion of beauty, and I think that's very important. And I think that's what every Muslim girl does in that way. Society's values are built by the minority challenging the majority, right? And so we have that role to play, and I think you did a great job in bringing that idea to it, And so keep that up. I think that's going to be very powerful moving forward. Jazakallah khairan.
All right. Make sure you don't get tired, or we're going to turn that microphone on again and wake you right back up, okay? I'd like to introduce our next poet. I want you to give a loud applause. She's a second-year student at Ohio State University, and she's from Cincinnati. She's studying middle childhood education and has been performing spoken word for 4 years. When she isn't busy with college or writing lyrics, she's involved with MENA, the Muslim Youth of North America, organization for and by youth. I'm all about that. Can we please give it up for Maryam Suleiman?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I didn't have time to write a new piece, so my first piece was short, so I'm kind of combine the two, and it's kind of going to be about my Muslim, Arab, American identity, I guess. M-U-S-L-I-M, that spells Muslim, a group that different people may perceive in different ways, a group that the media degrades, and because of that, channels like Fox News think they slay. Well, let me give you a quick news flash. What the media says isn't always right or bright and may sometimes give you a fright. Some people, after 9/11, think I'm Bin Laden. Sorry, I'm gonna have to break it to you, I'm not. I don't have that cold blood that runs under my skin, and I don't make the world spin by thinking violence is the answer to everything, and I don't take religion and make it look like the worst of things, because sometimes religion is all someone has going for him. The headscarf, the hijab is something I wear. I know a lot of times I walk down the hallway, people stare, they don't know this has become a part of me, a sacred part of my identity, one that holds me close to God. Rabbi, please help me become stronger on this everyday journey. This is a test. How strong can I be? A test, it was my decision to preserve my dignity. A test, you can hate on me all you want, you see. This is a test for you to judge not based on outside looks, but rather inner beauty. But maybe we can judge a little, because dictators deserve that. Trust me when I tell you that it's the same person, but the thing is, I can't understand how. I don't know how a person can be both kind and evil. I don't know how a person can control other people, a tyrant oppressing residents. I mean, that shouldn't even be legal. Shocking, really, how we all keep sleepwalking freely into the invisible standards of society, ones that allow us to forget our humanity and sanity. Well, that's gone. When it comes to other people, we only see what's wrong. But let me just propose a theory to set aside our differences and maybe unite over common instances. Maybe then Egypt will open its gates to Palestine. Maybe لما نقول إحنا واحد, it's gonna mean something. We're gonna make sure that we stand next to our brother and that no one's getting killed. We're gonna make sure that no more innocent blood is getting spilled. We're gonna make sure, not me, not I, that we are أحد تميمي. كبري دماغك بقى، ما انت مش شايف ان الناس زيك هم اللي هيودونا لورا؟ ما انت مش شايف عدد الناس اللي بتموت؟ لا يلا نبني على كل الظلم اللي موجود. الناس بتيجي وتروح والوقت عمال يفوت. But something we should remember is, I'm gonna throw a little bit of Lupe Fiasco in there. He says that no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're into, no matter what you see when you look outside your window, brown grass or green grass, picket fence or barbed wire, never ever put him down. We just lift our arms higher. Raise them till your arms tired. Let them know you're there, that you struggle and survive, and that you gon' persevere. Yeah, ain't nobody leaving, nobody is going home, even when they turn the lights out. The show is going on. Jazakumullah khairan.
Ooh, it's better than this room. I got goosebumps. MashaAllah. You've been doing this for years, for sure. Congratulations. MashaAllah, dude. You throw Lupe Fiasco in there? That's crazy. All right, judges.
Maryam, I'm really at loss with words. No matter how, like, you've never failed to give me goosebumps. Wallahi, never. Here you go. I can't even add anything. I'm just like, Maryam. I can't. Good job, good job. That's all I can say.
Let's first applaud the eloquence of Faryal's judgment, right? I think the crowd spoke for itself. Good job, crowd. But you did amazing, right? It's in performance, it's in your soul, it's in what you said, and it all came together like a perfectly baked cake. MashaAllah. I love you.
All right. I'm trying to like cut back and not give all my thoughts and be like Omar over here. But that was beautiful. You definitely have the slam, urban, street poetry vibe. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I definitely mean that in the most positive of ways. And I appreciate your delivery and your confidence and your passion.
To the individuals who hit the mic for the first time today, don't ever look at this art as like something that, you sprinkle fairy dust and all of a sudden you're like skilled at it. No, it takes craftsmanship. It takes practice. It takes standing in a mirror and performing it 100 billion times over and over again, right? This isn't just something that comes naturally. It takes years and years, and it's very, very important that you do some public speaking lessons in this community, right? Because you got that like UK thing going on, right? Did you guys feel that? Yeah, and mashallah. And you ladies, memorize your stuff, get up and perform in the mirror. They used to make us do it in a British accent, so that we could like ingrain the words in our head, so that sometimes you can perform it like a robot, And it's mashallah, dude. This community I mean, I don't know if it's just that we haven't had open mics in other communities or Muslim slams that I've experienced, but like, you've got some gems here for sure. And I've seen some many familiar faces in the audience. I hope you know I'm acknowledging and smiling at you. I am so excited to introduce the next poet of the day. I like the title of this, Femininity and Capability. This next poet is a senior at Hilliard-Davidson High School. Her favorite color is turquoise, and some of her numerous hobbies include hiking, rock climbing, snorkeling, and writing slam poetry. Beyond college, she aspires to be a published author and a lawyer while working for a nonprofit organization like CARE or My Project USA, inshallah. Give it up for Saima Said.
Today, over 775 million people are illiterate. That's 1 in every 10 individuals around the world, and over 2/3 are women. In Afghanistan, 1 in every 5 girls are barred from pursuing an education. Hundreds of schoolgirls are kidnapped and slaughtered in Nigeria while their schools are set ablaze. Over 100 million females are victims of gendercide, and they're missing from the world today. That's over 100 million potentials to find a cure for cancer. That's over 100 million human lives that could have solved the water crisis, income inequality, societal injustice, poverty. That's 100 million lost Amelia Earhart's, Halima Aden's, Cleopatra's, and Catherine the Great's. When Jannah lays under the feet of your mothers, when daughters carry with them the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you need a woman to complete the other half of your iman, why do you call it a man's world? When femininity and capability are not mutually exclusive, was it not Joan of Arc who led hundreds of men into war? Was it not Khadija radiallahu anha that chose the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the most powerful business in Mecca? Fatima bint Muhammad, Asiya bint Muzahim, and Maryam bint Imran. Quintessential are these women, yet we still call it a man's world. They say that well-behaved women rarely make history. So I say, bleed, revolution, set the sky ablaze with the sharpness of your tongue, carve your dreams in clouds with polished nails, submerge the pastel hues of Amazonian rainbows and African sunsets, and wear a mountain for a backbone. Don't measure your worth by the length of your heels, but by the breadth of your soul, and live, because femininity and capability are not mutually exclusive. And the world has seen the death of too many women, forgotten for their immortal contributions to society, silenced and shackled by societal expectations. So I say, be zealous, wear audacity like you wear your heart on your sleeve, and explode with candor and courage, because too many women have died in the name of ladylike. Instead of innovation, instead of vocation, instead of firing nations with their spontaneity and being known for it. Because femininity and capability are not mutually exclusive. Jazakallah khair.
Girl, you need a PowerPoint with all those facts you just taught all of us. MashaAllah, that was a history lesson for sure. Judges, I'm gonna hand it off to you right now.
Saima, I really love the part where you said where we carry a piece of Allah's rahim or Allah's mercy with us, because it's the rahim, and the rahim in Arabic is like, it's like basically the womb, and so rahma is just, it's one of Allah's names, and that's really like, I like that you tied that in. It's really nice.
I'll actually say something this time. I love the feminist talk, love it. But you made it sound like it wasn't like a feminist rant, right? You were showing us what we needed to see without being a feminazi, as they say. So thank you for bringing that into this room.
So as women of color, we say womanist. I have like an issue with feminist because of political reasons and like I'm not gonna get into all that in the masjid, but I appreciate your womanist take and your clarity and your strength.
I'm the only guy at this, or the only judge, and I'm commenting on femininity, so I gotta watch out. I think the emotion was there. I think it spoke to who you were and what you believed, and I think that's powerful. The one thing that I advise to you, as well as all the contestants here, is a reference. Poetry is universal, and the audience you speak to can expand depending on the references that you use. So if we keep our references limited to whether it's only something a Muslim can understand, then we only speak to one audience. But if we keep our references universal, then we speak to everybody, men, women, and every tradition. So keep that in mind as you move forward with your poetry. Jazakallah khairan.
Jazakallah khair. I like hearing some of those nice Arabic names in that piece. How old are you? 17. MashaAllah. Keep learning and keep writing. It is with a sad heart that I introduce our last poet of the Iron Faith Poetry Slam. Can I please just real quick get the loudest round of applause for the judges who have done so much work here today. And for every single poet so far that has graced this stage, one more round of applause. And we're gonna keep that energy going for our last poet of the day. The poem is called Iron Faith. I say it fits. She's a sophomore at Dublin Centennial High School. He is a sophomore. Sorry, it's a beautiful name. He plays football and runs varsity track at a school. He was born in the United Kingdom. However, his family is originally from Libya. In his free time, he likes to create music, rap, and write poetry. His words of wisdom to you is, success doesn't happen to you. It happens because of you. Please give it up for Rida Fathallah.
Iron Faith. Iron was the shackles my ancestors had to wear. Iron was the bullets that sent my friends into early graves. But faith was what let my ancestors fight for their freedom. Faith was what guided us to stand up to those bullets which were meant to beat us. But sadly, that's in the past and nowhere near the future. Because in today's society, faith is so unusual. 153 years later, slavery is still on the rise. While our brothers in Syria are trying to do what they can, taking bullets for their sons, daughters, and wives. Black men getting beat for not meeting skin requirements. 10 gunshots because he looked like a threat to an officer's early retirement. My dear Muslim sisters getting harassed for wearing hijabs and not wanting to show off having some class. The list goes on, maybe for an eternity. And all we do is like, share, post, call it a night, sleep through soundly. Because we know at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt us, which hurts our faith in Allah so profoundly. Sympathy, kindness, forgiveness for one another was what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was trying to make us understand. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've been sounding real bashful, for I am human too, and I have my imperfections. But to me, I look at it like my mind, spirit, and body is like a piece of iron. And my willingness to make a difference is like a blacksmith's hammer. But my faith in Islam and Allah is what ignites the fire. Instead of hate, sadness, and sorrow, it creates a leg which you can stand on. But remember this before you leave and you go home and you scroll through your iPhone screen. A chair needs more than one leg to stand on. Thank you.
Takbir! Takbir! Takbir. I think that was a pretty good way to end the evening, right? Judges? Perfect. All right, judges, who wants to start?
Rita, way to go. You delivered something that was unique and different, and I think that the themes you touched on in your delivery, especially your imagery, were very strong, and that came through in your performance very well. Good job.
Okay. Rita, Youngblood, get it, get it, get it.
Did you compete at the last one or 2 years ago? No? Okay. Your first time? MashaAllah. That was very raw. That was very powerful. I think you went a place where people would be afraid to go in what you talked about. So I think that takes a lot of courage, and I respect that. Jazakallah khairan.
All right, judges. So, are we tallying things up? Is there a... All right, so they're going to take their time. I am so humbled to have been invited to your community today. SubhanAllah, it's a crazy thing speaking things out loud at the places that you are taken to. And I want to go home and I want to write. I'm gonna perform a couple pieces for you while the judges are tallying things up. This is my last event for a while. Alhamdulillah, in 8 days I am getting married, inshallah. And it's been a busy 3 months. This is my 38th event in the last 3 months, and I cannot imagine a better way to end this note on. Alhamdulillah. I'll tell you a couple, sure, if you want. Alhamdulillah. Y'all are super dope, mashallah. And to the elders in the community, I bet, I bet they don't always know what to expect when the youth hop on the mic, but it's almost like we can carry the shuyukh sometimes. I remember in Denver after the Orlando shooting, they called me up and they're like, Amal, go talk to the camera. All the shuyukh, they gave their talks, all the masajid came together, and they had to get just a young person to stand up on the camera. Because we're the ones who say we don't have to apologize when things like this happen. We're the ones who say with courage, because we're born here, right? This is our land. There's nowhere to deport us to, unfortunately for them, right? For many of us here. And for many others, this is their new home, and this is the territory in which America will be redefined for them. But I'm going to take it back home to my fatherland. As I said, my mama's from Iowa. She is a white woman who now teaches tajweed to Arabic speakers. MashaAllah. She converted at the age of 15 years old, and she has gone far. When in the beginning, when she went to Syria, she'd sneeze and be like, Alhamdulillah. And they'd be like, Yalla, marra tani, say one more time. What did you say? Tell them Alhamdulillah. Because she's like this white lady with green eyes, and she's speaking the language. And, mashallah, she's grown so much. And I think to have a white mother and then a Syrian father, the depth of experience, what you uphold. I will not let the Arabs claim me as only Arab. No, my mama's white. My mama is an American Muslim woman. She brought Islam into her bloodline. And for everyone else, no, my dad's Syrian. My dad's an Arab. My dad's the brown-skinned, bearded man that CNN and BBC will flash up on the screen whenever the opportune time comes, right? And it's important to honor both and to not let people get comfortable with one identity. As American Muslims, we own an entirely new identity. One that before us, only black Muslims had. Black Muslims are the original American Muslims, right? And a teacher of mine, she told me, she says, the only reason why we are here as Muslims is because of the dua of the Muslims who came before us, the ones who were taken here on slave ships, the ones who, in the writing of slave masters and the people who did the seasoning, the process of breaking a man down so he can become obedient to another man, they said the Muslims were the most challenging of slaves to break down. Because when you're Abdullah, you're not going to be Abd Thomas, right? Maybe on the piece of paper, but they struggled to break the Muslims down. And so it's such an honor to be able to create this new identity. On April 4th, 2017, my father woke me and my brother up for Salat al-Fajr, and he had received the news that bombing had hit my family's home. And you know, at this point, we'd lost many members of the family in Syria. People from starvation, the siege. You know, one of my cousins, he fell into a diabetic coma. He was only 24 years old. His wife had 2 kids and pregnant. And all he needed was 1 shot of insulin. Other people who died, they were like my dad's second cousins, twice removed, and people through marriage. And you know, one of the first people to die was my dad's 13-year-old second cousin. This was before the revolution was armed. And she was sniped in the back of her head onto her mother's lap. Her mother was then shot in the face. And the 2 men were taken, and we haven't heard from them since. You know, this is the reality we grow up. We grow up in America. We have our fitna here. We have our struggle here. But my mom gave birth to children who don't have the ability to not say, alhamdulillah, that this is the struggle we have. We have a racist president who's totally not qualified. We've got bigger things to deal with, right? Alhamdulillah for what fitna we've been given, because there are much worse things we could deal with. But on April 4th, this was the first time that the war really hit home, and I mean literally. And the first body they dragged out from under the rubble was my father's sister. And the second body was my cousin, and the third body was my cousin, and the fourth body was my cousin's 2-year-old son, and the 5th body and 6th body, until it was the 11th body. And I am including the 2 babies inside of the 2 pregnant women's wombs. And subhanAllah, how quick death is. How you wake up in your American suburban home and you find out that, you know, your sister just died. No matter what, my dad experienced something much deeper than we did. Baba lost his sister. And I remember sitting on the floor after Fajr, and all of this is on WhatsApp, right? Whenever I perform for like non-Muslim audiences, I tell them, WhatsApp is something every ethnic person and their mother has. This is a universal fact. Right? Well, it's true. And we're sitting there on WhatsApp getting, you know, and when they pulled out my aunt's body, the first body, subhanAllah, I don't know what it was, but they thought she was alive. So my dad had like 10 seconds to think that his sister did not die. And we think about death often in my family. I always think, you know, because there's always going to be, and this is a heavy topic, you know, I'm sorry to like dim the mood, but death is another part of life. And when they did studies on different populations around the world, so they did a study between Saudi Arabia and the United States, talking about the fear of death. In the United States, the greatest fear regarding death was the unknown. In Saudi Arabia, that wasn't an issue. The unknown wasn't an issue. We know about the qabr, we know about the grave. We know about whether your grave will expand or whether it will constrict. We know about, we have so many resources to tell us what will happen. And I always pray to Allah that not, oh Allah, when my brothers, when my father, when I die, when my mother dies, whenever that day comes, let la ilaha illallah be the last word on their lips. Because otherwise, you can't wish that there is no death. Death will come. It will come. It will always come. And so I'm going to recite a poem to you right now about the farmland. SubhanAllah, at the end of the day, this flesh is made from dirt. It's just dirt. And it is something that the animals, the bugs living inside of the dirt will eat. They will take it away from us after we die, until we are just bones and a soul hovering above it. This is a poem for all of the farmers for all of the cooks, for the women and the men who preserve and honor the land the best that they can. And if you want to replace the word Syria with Mexico or Afghanistan or Palestine, be my guest. It's all the same story anyways. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My grandmother always had dinner on the table. Even when the tyrant put checkpoints outside her door, her defiance made mealtimes a battle her family would always win. As long as she could keep chopping, she would get that tabbouleh to the table fresh. Because families sit together to eat. They don't await Salat al-Janaza. So she would send my cousins down the stairs to get her parsley. And they ate like kings amidst a war zone. Recipes the tyrant has never tasted. My grandmother knows Syria better than anyone. It is the arthritis living in her knees. She had a farm whose dust she knew by name. She knew the day the peaches would be ripe and how sour a lemon was based on the rain. My grandmother spoke the language of the land that fed her. She housed families on her farm that would help till the soil, their hands colored with the dirt and her hands bruised from hollowing out all that kusa. And they built Surya with a prayer, with a meal, blistered hands, and enough food to feed the neighbors. You see, the falah, the farmer, is the one who knows his country best. It is always him to take the first bullets, and it is always him to stay behind. He knows what Syria needs when she is thirsty, knows what she will do to his body when he is buried. A farmer knows what his grave will smell like. And when the war started, even the rivers ran away. For the hands of a militant are not like the hands of a farmer. Bullet and earth cannot speak to each other, and blood will never, ever make the crops grow. And so the whole country stopped growing. She spent her time counting bodies. It's hard to trust the footsteps when everyone is running. When the bombs disguise themselves as clouds, when militants talk dirty about a country whose parsley they have never even tasted. Only a farmer will convince this soil to grow again. He is water in time of drought. His street dialect is the language this dirt prays in. And when he cooks for all those starving people, he is using my grandmother's recipes. They cut down every single tree in my grandmother's farm. They ripped the pomegranate from the earth, and the lemons don't grow there anymore. And the Syrian people wonder, does the tyrant not remember who fed him? My grandma swears she's going to write down every single recipe for when this war is over, because she knows what Syria needs. We know what all our countries need. We will rebuild them with a prayer, with a meal, blistered hands, and enough food to feed each and every one of the neighbors. And the tyrants, and the militants, and the terrorists, and rapists, and warlords, just like the rest of us, they're gonna learn their graves. They're gonna feel the weight of the entire country on their chests. And when the soil asks them, did you not spill blood in my name? Then why do you fear me so? Let the earth give your body back to me. And Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, will not know how to respond. He doesn't speak the language of his country. He will struggle against the dirt that fed him. Jazakumullahu khair. Thank you for having me. It looks like those judges are still calculating some things. I'll tell you a story about that farm real quick. They need a minute. All right. So in the UK in particular, there is a counterterrorism program called PREVENT. Look it up. It is the most corrupt, disgusting, hypocritical, oppressive thing that any Western government has enforced. It basically allows you to take a child into a detention without the permission of his parents if he's talking too much about identity or religion or something, right? It is this profiling system that wants to essentially strip young people of any connection that they have to their ethnicity and their religion. It's highly racist, but Patriot Act, France's Muslim ban, or France's burkini ban, it's a very common thing. But let me tell you about real counterterrorism. Now in Islam, the duty that we have to the orphans, that's not a joke. There are sections in the Quran allocated just to this topic. The orphan has so many rights. And if you think about it, who is the most vulnerable in a violent environment? Look at honestly, Crips and Bloods, MS-13 or MS-17? Whichever one's in El Salvador. 13, MS-13, thank you. The most vulnerable recruits are young people. Young people without that, parental supervision, without that community connection. You got a bunch of orphan children in a place like Syria. Children who have, by testimony, witnessed the murders, the bombings, the rapes, the limbs all over the place of their own parents. Right? I'm sorry, kids. Oh my gosh. But these kids, they grow up. There's no one to take care of them. The society, the world is not taking care of the orphans. And they're hungry. And then a man comes to them and he says, "Here, I have some bread for you. But you can only take the bread if you take the gun too." The child will take the bread and the gun, right? You're gonna eat from the hand that feeds you. You're gonna take from the hand that feeds you. So my cousins, may Allah bless them. For the ones who've died, may Allah make them martyrs. For the ones who've been shot, may He heal them. They turned that farm into a young boys' orphanage. And those little boys, they were learning Quran, they were learning Deen, they were learning the very things that are emitted from these extremist individuals who, I don't even want to say extremists, the guys who take out the rules and then keep the harsh stuff, right? To justify the massacres and the rape and the murder. And they taught these young boys Islam. And they fed them. And these boys started growing tomatoes and lettuce and adas. And these young boys regrew this farm. That is counterterrorism. That's how you do it. I believe strongly that if a young boy is an orphan, let him learn to become a farmer, because no one will teach him patience better than the earth will. You plant a seed, there ain't no guarantee that's gonna grow. In a story of a Palestinian farmer, I'm rambling up here, so forgive me, we're gonna wait for them. In a story of a Palestinian farmer, they found out that the olive tree, when you plant an olive tree, a little baby olive tree in its very, very early youth, you will never eat the olives off that tree. You will never eat them. It will not finish growing in your lifetime. And so when they asked a Palestinian farmer, "Why would you plant a tree that you won't even eat from?" He said, "Because my ancestors did it for me." SubhanAllah, that we talk about torch carrying, but fire, it disappears. As young Muslims in this country, we are seed planters. There are people who have come to this country and have been buried in this country. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, when our bodies are resurrected, this will be the place that they are resurrected from. And we must take the land that we are on very, very seriously. That farm now is abandoned. In fact, the entire region obliterated. Literally, there is not one single building that is standing left in this area. None. My family's from Eastern Ghouta. And the way we found out that everyone was leaving was when my sister, who lived in Qatar, was watching television, and they were showing the masses of people who were walking out of this area to go into these refugee camps or whatever. And my sister saw my grandfather's brother. He wasn't being interviewed, he was walking with the masses of the refugees. And that's when the news was broken. That Baba's hometown is not his hometown anymore. Verily, everything in this life will leave us. We must plant the seed, no matter what, even if the sun rises from the west, right? If the day of judgment comes and you are in the process of planting a seed, continue planting it. Yeah, it's not going to grow, but continue planting it. Our role here as Muslims is to plant seeds. That's it. Jazakumullahu khair. Judges, who's going to make the announcement of our winner? I'm going to announce the winners. And we have prizes. All right, beautiful. You let me know when you need me.
Okay. All right, assalamu alaikum again, everybody. Thank you guys all for coming out. This was an amazing poetry slam. Everybody who competed today, participated, did an amazing job. Before we did announce the winners, we want to give special thank you for Adam Kadabe and Maryam Suleiman. You guys came out here to perform and participate. You guys were not competing in the competition. And it's really important that you guys do that. You guys bring a crowd to your powerful performances. Being part of the community, sending your message out is so important. And it's really important that you guys did that today because it means a lot to us, and that inshallah you continue doing so for the sake of the community. And especially because it's not easy. We're all in college. Finals are next week. We're all dying. It's going to be fine. We're making dua, but we still come to the masjid, we still do these programs. So another round of applause for committing to this and doing an amazing job.
All right, and also, let's clap it up for everybody that competed. And also, I hope that all the young people who participated and also those who wanted to participate but maybe backed out for whatever reason, it's important, yes, this is a slam, and the definition of slam by default is competition, but your intention to be to come out here, give a message, and uplift people in some way, right? So I know, like, I don't want anybody to go home and cry because you should only cry tears of joy. So this, our judging piece was very difficult, and just because you may not have won first, second, or third doesn't speak to your integrity or your talent. So that's very important, and I definitely want to push that out there. So like, understand that we had a hard time, but then also everybody was fabulous. And I was very blessed to judge the competition in 2016. And one of the girls that won is doing brilliant things. And even if she didn't win, I believe she would be doing brilliant things. So it's all about what you want. And use every stage that you are at as a way to, A, build confidence, and B, give your message. So that's very important. So just remember that. So let's clap it up again for all the contestants. All right, and we're gonna have Amal announce the first, second, and third place with prizes. We'll start with third. We'll start with third. Don't worry about that. Okay.
So we'll start with 3. Awesome. One thing that's said in slam that's very, very important. Word. The point is not the points. The point is not the poetry. The point is the people. Remember that. Yeah, and quote me on that, right? MashaAllah. I lost my first poetry slam in my life. Yeah, so it's a humbling thing, and you only get up stronger. But it is with great, great honor I'm going to start with our third place winner, Brother Rida. Stand up! You want him to come up here? Yeah. We're going to have you come up here. I'm sorry, make you the center of attention again. One more time for our third place winner. You can stand right in the middle, right next to Iron Faith. Our second place winner is Lina. Give it up. And everybody put your hands together. Get these drum beats going. Our first place winner of the Iron Faith Poetry Slam is Samia. One more time for all the poets and all the participants. Did we do the right? I just pulled a Harvey, what's his last name? That's what I got. How many?
So we had two contestants, one named Samia and one named Samia. So there's, did I get that right, Samia? Right? No, wait a second. Wait a second. It was a very difficult choice. And Sister Samia was also in the running, and it was very, very competitive. So let's first off give a round of applause to Sister Samia for honorable mention. And then for our grand prize winner, Sister Samia. You know, the Arabic language is very rich. It can cause some problems sometimes, but Jazakallah khair.
I think when that happened to Miss Universe, do you guys remember that? It was on Snapchat. I don't care about that stuff, but that was really funny. Saima and Samia. Give it up for your mistaking MC, who did a very bad job just now. Congratulations. And as I said, I want all the poets who competed to stand up here, including the ones who did not compete, but the ones who participated. Everyone get up front. Everyone get up front. You too, sister. Come on. You have no idea how proud your community is of you guys. And we're gonna do a picture. That wasn't part of my plan, but hey, let's do it. If you did this once, do it again. All right, you brothers, scooch over. We gotta center this. I know I'm blabbering, but I have one more thing that I want to say. Confidence, yes, it's important. But the key is not confidence. The key is sincerity. If you are sincere in what you are saying, if you are truthful in what you are saying, then even the nervousness and low self-esteem cannot rattle the truth that you have. MashaAllah, guys, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. One more time and you are free.
So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for being so